do that in a basement, now you build a house anyhow. so-
Exactly.
We are live.
Okay.
We are live now.
Okay.
Good thing he's on, we wouldn't have a quorum.
4?
Three is
Three,
enough.
yeah, got it.
That's right.
John, thumbs up if you can hear us. Oh, good. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
How
Take
you
a
doing?
seat.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Bolton and Mink?
Out of where?
What's that?
Out of where?
I'm out of Duluth. So. How are you?
Virginia.
Okay.
There's your mic.
So that was Sugar Shack's attempt at your logo on the cookie.
Oh,
I just had to question it for a minute. At first I was like, is this that logo?
I mean, sort of. It's. Mind you, that rode in my backpack from beginning to here. So.
So it could be a little smudged.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he say he could do
You
this?
must know I grabbed 4 cookies, 2 for each of my kids, and I gave you 2 of them.
Oh,
so
that's very nice.
that's where you range.
Thank you. I will keep track of that. I do have a running total in my head, so.
Well, isn't that thing insane?
It could just be I don't think they need 2 cookies each.
Yeah, or that. I definitely don't need 2 cookies each, so I did put one on Kimberly's desk.
We got one counselor in.
I was gonna say.
See, everybody assumes I read emails on a regular basis, but
That's okay. That's okay.
it's on a have-to basis.
Yes. Everyone assumes I will remember things, so that's why
basically.
planner.
Get past a certain age, they don't make that assumption anymore.
Okay, so Bob, Dan, and Richard,
Mhm.
you guys are all on the council,
Right,
Yes, and John up in the,
and John.
John.
You have the mayor?
he's down in the city, so I'm filling.
Oh, good.
One of those 2.
Thank you.
The
Don't have to
interim
mayor.
mayor.
Yeah,
Oh,
Wonderful.
thank you. I will put this into correspondence.
Completely forgot the counselor online, so I would have emailed it to you otherwise.
You must be Lucas.
I'm not Lucas. But I'm Lindsay Luke. Close though. Together we make Lindsay Luke, so
Yep,
I
yep.
think it's a pretty cool team. No, she's not. And I thought they were.
well, I got 5 o'clock, so let's
Who?
call a meeting to
Oh,
order.
I don't know. I wrote that.
The agenda setting meeting for Tuesday, February 6th. We'll jump right into agenda setting business, staff appearances. Jen?
Yeah,
she
Jen.
can't be here, but she gave me this in her stead. The winter reading program ends today. We'll be announcing the winners tomorrow. We had a great numbers for sign up and a very decent turnout for the programs. We continue to host 321 Art Studio until the beginning of April. A lot of great feedback and lots of participation. We were also made aware that 321 Art Studio received a grant and will be using it to do a mural for the children's room. The mural is expected to be completed in August and we will host a grand reveal for the public. I'm gonna add too, I walked through there the other day when they had that painting thing in session. Couldn't believe the numbers of people that came. They looked like they were having a good time. Library staff attended the summer reading kickoff last Friday, hosted by Arrowhead Library System. I learned a lot and was great to network with other libraries. We're starting our planning for the summer reading program and are excited to provide this for the area youth again. And they're staying busy with weeding, inventory, and the annual report. So it is our back end busy time of the year, but we're enjoying updates for the community. That is all.
All right, thanks. Jump into city attorney, have you got anything?
I was not given anything from Mr. Carney, to address, so no, Mayor, I
I had a
don't.
couple of things, but I talked to Mike downstairs, so.
Okay,
One
great.
is that property and, right, a couple closures on property. Taking
So-
care of them Monday, I guess, so.
So it must have been some face-off between the town of White and the city of Aurora for scheduling with the Super Tuesday.
Right.
Correct.
We usually hold our meetings on Tuesday and they hold theirs Thursday, but we had to move hours, so.
Right, yeah. So, happy to fill in,
Fabulous.
but no, I don't have anything
All right, thank you.
to bring up.
Josh?
Yeah, so I provided an update in the packet, just kind of walk through that. So the big thing is obviously West Industrial Park. So our geotechnical piece of it, investigation is complete. So that's just drilling the soils to figure out what we're working with out there for material. Primarily glacial tills, so lean clays and sands and glacial outwash. So that's like a silty, dense sand. So we had some pretty good blow counts. I mean, it should be good material to build with. Could be worse, could be better. We did find some bedrock on the northwest edge. So it'd be generally that map I provided where our new road is gonna tie into MnDOT's. There's some shallow bedrock there. And then the southeast edge, kind of the southeast corner of the building, there's some shallower bedrock. What we're thinking for a finished floor on the building, we should be well above the bedrock, so no major concern there. Where it would play is utilities potentially need some rock excavation to get those utilities in, so. The big thing to probably talk through is the limited phase 2 environmental site assessment. So we were talking before the meeting a little bit, they did identify some vapor concentrations, so it'd be along the railroad corridor on the north end. That was the only location they found it. None of the other drilling across the entire site, whether it was the phase 2 drilling or the boring for the soils, found anything. So it's just, vapor was detected on the north end along the railroad corridor. So they found presence of benzene, which is found in crude oil, gasoline, and then tetrachloroethylene, TCE, which is like a parts cleaner. So very likely associated with railroad use. The next steps, working with city staff, but would be to report it to the MPCA duty officer, enroll it in that Brownsfield program. It does become kind of an official contamination site. So you know, if you go in the MPCA's what's in my neighborhood, it's gonna show up as a site now. So, but the big thing here is doing that, it absolves the city of liability. So you didn't create the mess, you're not gonna be responsible. Any long-term lawsuits or something like that if someone were to get sick or anything like that. So, action plan required. So the big thing likely wouldn't be required to like go locate the source. So that was the thing, they couldn't find what is the source. We think it's the railroad, but there's, you know, there could be a barrel buried somewhere of gasoline or something like that. Not likely, but certainly could be. But the big thing coming out of it, since it's just vapor, it's vapor barriers required on any structure out there. So, spec building site. I guess any questions relative to the phase 2? Okay. Likely some additional investigation costs. Still trying to figure out with our sub-consultant NTS on what that would be. Just to get it enrolled in the program, there's some paperwork that comes along with that. So, probably more of an inconvenience than a major roadblock. So. Spec building site, so I did share a drawing that shows kind of the schematic. So the original building will be 30,000 square feet, give or take. So the truck access is on the west side. So there's some loading docks there, trucks can pull in and then, you know, do their alley back in. And then on the east side would be the employee entrance, employee parking, that type of stuff. Setting it up for future expansion, generally the project team is leaning towards grading the whole pad for a phase 2 and potentially even phase 3 development, just so if we get that right business that would come, we could make that work. Same thing, just kind of ghost plotting that parking that would go along with it as well, so. We are at a point where we have some detailed preliminary designs that'll be routed through staff and IRRR just to get full buy-in on this concept. There's more detailed drawings than this, obviously, before we go full steam ahead into detailed final design. So, but overall, still on track to break ground this spring on that building site. So, roadway. So we are through the preliminary design as well. So kind of how you see the roadway laid out is generally pending some big environmental outcome. How that will lay out as well. You see the pond location, so we have a regional pond on the south end, and then looking at putting another treatment pond in that existing wetland just north of the stockpile. So that wetland is what I would call incidental. We haven't delineated anything, haven't talked to the Corps yet, but it looks to be man-made, so we can go fill it in, dig it out, whatever we need to do without having to mitigate that. So you still have to permit it, but you don't have to buy credits. So. But doing the regional pond on the south end, I like to do regional ponds where I can. Instead of doing 8 ponds across the site, let's just do one big one wherever we can. But knowing that that's highway frontage, the trailhead pond that we have it labeled helps just reduce the size on the south end. So knowing that that's higher valuable property, let's pick off some of the drainage on the north end. It's gonna help keep pipe sizes down and keep that pond on the south end smaller, so. We do show kind of the rerouted trail. I would say that is probably incorrect. It's right in concept, but generally it's probably gonna go up the east side of the stockpile down and then along the west side of the Blue Cross building property, so.
Yeah, because you got a wetlands issue in here.
Yeah. It just is not a good route. So.
Looks good on paper, but it ain't gonna work.
Yep, exactly. So. Anything on the industrial park that council would be interested in hearing more about?
Are they gonna start logging pretty soon?
That's the plan, yep, so we're finalizing the logging limits, and so we'll go stake, honestly, we'll probably just tie ribbon on the limits if you go out there now. I think there's even some ribbon out there already. But they have to be cut by the end of the month, so they don't have to be cleaned up, they just gotta be dropped.
Okay.
So, and I think Luke's on, maybe Luke, you can chime in. I think we have a meeting scheduled with the loggers at next week.
He's not logged on.
Oh.
That's me.
Oh.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, are you on there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh.
Yep.
Somehow he's on there.
So we do have a meeting next week with the logger, and we will line all of that up. So there's some logging possibly to do south of the road, which we'll be talking about later with this parcel purchase as well. And there's also some logging to do for the water plant. So there's a lot of cutting that's got to go on here in the next week or two. But with the logger that we have and the gear that he's got, we're not really too worried about it. Probably just taking a couple days.
Good question. West 3rd Avenue Alley project, so no major updates since we last talked. It's looking like that'll be a 2025 project, just based on, we'll be applying for the infrastructure grant through the IRRR in July. So that's when that program rolls over into the next fiscal year, so it'll be one of the first projects to apply. So hoping to be successful in that application. West 1st Avenue reconstruct, so we should know by the end of the month on that LRIP application. We asked for $1.5 million. Usually it's pretty typical that they do full or no award. It's very rare they do like a partial. So we should know on that. That is tentatively a 2025 project as well, pending funding through LRIP. We did get it on the PPL application for the Clean Water Drinking Fund, so that's for the sanitary sewer. Knowing with the big water plant projects and the wastewater project, we're gonna encumber some debt. Just trying to make sure we're in front of any opportunity to get some grant dollars through PFA. So that application went in last Friday was the deadline, so we're on the PPL for that. We did get listed last year for the water MDH PPL. Since we're in design, we can get, they call it certified plans, which basically says we're ready to go. So what that does, it just puts you in a higher position on the list. So all about just getting things is prepared for funding as we can. So doing everything we can for this project. CDBG, I believe it was the first February meeting, council authorized design on that project, so that's the crack repair on Central. I would say we're at a 90% plan phase on that, so primarily just pavement patches. So since the estimated construction cost is under the statutory $175,000, we can just do direct quotes from contractors, so we won't have to publicly bid it. So we are waiting on confirmation from St. Louis County. They go through an environmental process since it's federal dollars. Once we get that authorization, we can get those quotes. So Pine Grove parking lot. So it is on my list to reach out to Misabi since I'm anticipating an early spring, just to see what they're thinking for construction. I'd like to wait until May. I don't want it to be the first thing out of the chute, but just want to make sure we're communicating. The Stormwater Resilience Grant, this one's been kind of hanging out there in purgatory. We did get some information back to the MPCA grant administrator, so I would anticipate we'd see that grant agreement this month to begin that. So that was a citywide stormwater management plan that was covered through the grant program through the MPCA. Wastewater treatment facilities, so we did do our CMAR interviews last week, and so the selection committee ultimately went with Magni Construction, who's doing the water treatment plan as well. They presented really well. Rice Lake was they're all three good contractors. I think they all did the job just sufficiently, but just Magni was just well positioned with the water treatment plan in town and trying to capitalize on any opportunities for savings and value, probably more than anything. So miscellaneous items. So as we're rolling into spring here, I do want to start looking at updating the capital improvement plan. So I like to do that annually, just so as we roll into budget season, we're adequately ahead of the curve a little bit. GIS, we did get some additional information on that for city staff to use. We added the construction as-built. So any construction plan that was provided, we scanned in. We created a project boundary. So when you pull up the map, it shows the project boundaries. You click on it, pulls the PDF. It's all digital now. So it's really handy tool instead of going to the closet and dusting off the plans.
Yeah.
So yeah. Lead service line, we did submit a budget to MDH to do that lead service line inventory. So the max ask is $75,000. We asked for $75,000. I think we can do our entire inventory for that. So we had some fluff in there. I think we'll be covered to do that. So we should see that contract in the next couple weeks from the MDH, and then we can begin that. So we have to have the lead service line inventory submitted by, I think it's like October 15th or something like that. So, and then just an update for council, I'm sure you're all aware, but the East Range Water Board selected Bolton and Meg for construction services. So we'll be assisting moving that forward as well. So, go ahead.
I have one question. Last year, we were doing a smoke test
Yes.
lines. Are we gonna do that this summer?
I can coordinate with staff. It hasn't came up in discussions lately, but yeah, we absolutely could.
Well, there's so many big things going on. It's small potatoes, but it was something that was in the works.
Yep. I think council approved that budget too.
Right.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty
specifically.
sure it was approved, but,
So,
I just thought I'd mention it.
yeah, I'll revisit that with Luke.
Okay.
Josh or Luke? Josh here. On that waste treatment facility, if we have $10 to $12 million in grant dollars secured, where's the differential going to come from? The extra $2 to $4 million.
So I know we're in the process of trying to position it for some additional funding. Luke, you're probably more in tune with that project, coordinating with Brian than I am. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, so our max grant on that is gonna end up being about 12 million, which puts our cost for the city at 3 million. That'll be a low interest PFA loan, you know, that 0 to 1% range, whatever the market kind of is dictating at that time. The other thing is that we have a bunch of debt that's falling off on the wastewater end about 2027. So the value of that loan most likely will be less than 3. We'll be able to just kind of swap that over for 1-to-1, you know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be a bunch of debt that'll fall off that'll kind of help fill that gap for that $3 million loan.
Okay, thanks. So we're not necessarily looking at an increase there to close a gap, or we may be?
Yeah, but it's not gonna be anything like the water plant by any means. So if we're looking at a $3 million loan and some of that debt falls off, that would just kind of be a 1-for-1. So we wouldn't have to raise any of the rates for that, whatever falls off. And then we did already raise it $3 a month. So we'll be able to tell once we get closer if that was, you know, helpful. What's going to be the big thing, John, is O&M, because there's a little bit of a plant, you know, it's going to be a little bit different because we have some different filters and whatnot. But I have told Brian the main goal of this is obviously to remove mercury. That's why we're doing it. But I want them to try and keep operation and maintenance costs down and as equal as to what we're running as much as possible, just to try and keep that down. So we're not trying to look at any technologies and do some things that's going to create some crazy operational costs. So, but I guess the best thing I could say is we're looking at a $3 million loan, and we're trying to keep that down as much as possible. So it will not be like the water plant.
Thanks.
Yep.
Any other agenda items or questions?
Magnet canceled? Ghosted?
I posted, I think. Lucas, did you hear from Magni Constructors?
No, I did not. I offered them the invite to show up if they had a staff that was available. So they didn't confirm, but they just said that they would look into it. I just was assuming they would be there, but I can't see you guys, but I can certainly hear you good. So if they're not in attendance, that's fine. I guess the other thing I'll say is if there's no questions on what Josh is proposing, if there was no other staff that's there, we probably should talk about the $70,000 land purchase that's on there, because this is going to be kind of new for some of you. Is there any questions or anything else that's going on, or should we just go right into that?
We can go right into that.
Okay.
Hey, look, I just had one other question. You know, on that central redesign, it said we got funded at 60,000 versus 80. I mean, is that just going to come out of the general fund, that 20,000 differential?
So when we put that budget together, we put a bunch of stuff in there for like the Cadillac kind of plan, and because they didn't fund it, we're just going to pull back a couple things and we'll be just fine. We budgeted enough to cover what we need to do this year. We just removed a couple things. That's all.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Okay, so with that, I guess I'll just move on to that land purchase. Where we're at right now, and Josh can kind of touch on this, is this came up because we've got sewer drainage. The goal obviously is to drain the industrial park by gravity. And what we were looking at, once we found out that gravity does not work ideally without some directional boring at $800 a foot to run it through the water tower area, we looked at putting in a lift station. A lift station, of course, is not ideal because they cost anywhere from $500,000 to $700,000, and then you've got the monthly costs of electrical and power and whatnot. So we just kind of thought outside the box, and we looked at Canuty Drive, and that water and sewer needs updating for those residents back there. The water line is cast, We have water breaks, that's kind of a hot spot area for us, a trouble spot. Also the sewer's original, it's clay, so it could use some updating. So what we're looking at doing is taking the funds from the industrial park project, coming across the road and tying into that. This parcel that's back there that we're proposing to purchase is 22 acres. The HRA actually has owned it before. We're trying to develop the whole west end with the trailhead, with the industrial park, and now possibly housing down here for this. So I'm not quite sure how many houses would be in there. It would depend on lot sizes and whatnot. Maybe that's Josh's wheelhouse and he could touch on that. But we've reached out to the homeowner, and the plan is to use $66,000 in ARPA funds, which is the balance of what we have left, and then possibly up to another $4,000 of just general funds to purchase this land. We would double that down on an IRRB grant, so they will count the money towards purchasing the land, and then we'll turn that into a grant to do a phase one out there, try and get it, whatever Josh would recommend or engineering firm would recommend to get that plotted, get it ready to get housing lots out there, and then we'd eventually, stub water and sewer lines into these houses. If you guys recall, last time we were at the IRRB when we got our funding, they said, come at us with housing, people need to bring us housing projects. So this is just a way of thinking outside of the box that we can make these IRRB industrial park dollars go farther. We can also fix utilities with some of that. We will have to fix the water line on some of our own account, but it's kind of a low hanging fruit kind of deal where we can really get a development area going inside of Aurora. So I guess I'll leave that for questions right now. I know we're running up against the clock. We've got about 5 minutes here, so.
The only thing I would build on that, so there is sewer out to the Blue Cross building, it's just too shallow. To get the depth we need on the sewer, we'd have to jack a pipe to basically Erie Street, where the sewer goes back to Shearings. We'd have to go all the way there with new sewer to get the depth we need. To open cut it, we'd be digging in front of the water tower, which we don't want to do, and so then you're looking at jacking, and it'd be really expensive. Like Luke said, $800 a foot to jack on grade. So you're essentially pushing a casing and then sliding the pipe inside of it just to make sure you're keeping that on grade. So going south, we can catch grade pretty dang quick. So
Then we just bore underneath the road and send it under.
Yep.
Cause that line behind Canuties has been broke many times over the years. I can remember it's shallow in there, and that would be a good move, I think.
The other thing it opens up is we could potentially upsize the sewer too, because where we would hook on down at Central and Erie is a 12-inch versus out by Shearing it's an 8. And so while we might not have the wastewater plant capacity at the moment, we would at least have the sewer capacity if we had a user in the industrial park that would need that level of capacity. So we could run a 12 back from Erie to the industrial park versus at Shearings it's an 8. So it just opens up a lot more doors.
That makes sense.
And from an economics perspective, it's a wash. So, and both certainly cheaper than a lift station. So.
Well, like Luke says, you got maintenance every year on that lift station. It's expenses every month.
Hey, Luke, would there be any assessments on any of the citizens that are out there now?
So we don't have a plan for any of that right now. I mean, we'll see what we can get done with the sewer line first on that. The water line, we'll have to put a plan together on that. I mean, it would be on the table for you guys if we wanted to do that, or we could try and fund it. We could maybe even look at CDBG funds or whatever. I don't know. We don't have a plan for funding the water line. And the other thing is the stubs to the lots. The new homeowners, they could pay for that in their whack and sack fees. So for the new homeowners on that side, that would easily be accounted for in the lots. But I mean, John, honestly, anything's on the table for you guys. Whatever you guys wanted to do for funding, we put that plan together. So the other thing is, I guess I'll say, is that the utilities would run in the back, of the houses and the lots. So you're not putting utilities underneath roads. So when we got to come back and put put a road in there, you're not looking at all that cost. You're just looking at some stormwater and you're looking at, you know, road. So it's gonna be significantly cheaper to try and get all that stuff done. So it's really the most bang for the buck, you combining all of these projects into one like this. So I guess to answer your question, John, it's up to you guys. You know, it's really up to the mayor and council and how we wanna do that.
So then the city would maintain an easement then on the back of those, all the lot,
I
any
think
lots
we
that-
have one there already.
There likely is one.
Huh?
There likely is one, yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
think there's one
I mean, if
there
there's not, I'm paying to the attorney, but there's probably like a prescribed easement of some sort because you have utilities there,
Right.
so.
On the west side,
that would be on the north side of Canute, be
South
on the
side.
south side of Canute Drive. I would think there would be one in there because we've been in there and fixed water lines and sewer lines, so I would
Okay,
think
got it.
we have an easement in there. Cause
We
we have a road access on the west side going in there.
And I think today the utilities are on the property you'd be purchasing, so if there's not, we'll get one road in there right
Right.
after we plat it,
Yeah.
so. I would ballpark probably 12 to 13 houses could fit, on each side of the road, so somewhere in there. That'd be like a 1/4 acre lot, 100 by 160. So,
What we would propose is doing like, you know, getting all of those lots filled first. And then once they're filled, we would do a phase 2 for the southern part of that, 22 acres, and try and stub in water and sewer and whatnot after that. You wouldn't have to do the whole development at once.
so,
There is a nice natural loop in there though for the road where you'd come off of Canute Drive. And that would get cleaned up, and actually it has to get cleaned up anyways with the county highway project. And the road would just kind of come down through that T in there, and it would enter out on Erie Street. So we'd have a nice little L in there that we already own that as well. So nice road in, nice road out where you're not going to disturb anybody, and that intersection will get cleaned up with Highway 100.
Not only that, Luke, that must be a dead end line that's in there now, right, behind Canute?
Yeah, that's another good point, Richard. It is a dead end, and we would end up looping the water line
Right,
too when we go
right.
across the road.
Right. So, any other questions? If not, I guess I'll adjourn this agenda setting meeting and well, being it's 5:30, we'll call our regular council meeting of Thursday, March 7th, 2024 to order. We'll have roll call.
Hess?
Here.
Hanson?
Here.
Godey?
Here.
McLeod.
Here,
Oh, Gregor, sorry.
Absent.
We'll stand for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item was consent agenda. Approval of minutes, approval of receipts, approval of payments, correspondence, travel and training requests, community reports, and reports from boards and commissions. Anybody have anything they want to pull out of there? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move we approve it. The
Got a motion,
I'll support it.
second. Got a motion and a second, we'll have a roll call vote.
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess.
Yep.
McLeod.
Yes.
That'll drop us down to number 10, items, appearances in public forum. Nobody's requested to come to front of council. Okay. Reports from staff. Got anything, Lindsay?
Nope, I would just remind the public that we do have a Highway 100 project public meeting on March 19th, and that will be at the community center beginning at 6 p.m. That would be the only thing that I would say or announce tonight.
May I speak on something about that meeting? For, for the public on the Highway 100? To emphasize they should come, cause I heard rumors that the state wants to make the runnels, just like Moabit. Well, you say no. I've heard this about the
So the project's being led by St. Louis County,
Right.
not the state.
Right.
but it's state aid.
It is state aid. So what that means is they're using funds. State aid fund is funded by the gas tax. They get
Right.
distributed to the counties. They're free to spend it as they wish on state aid designated routes. So the state will review the plans for conformance with their standards, which is not, bump outs are not a standard, it's just a design preference. They're looking at widths, speeds, design speeds, overall geometrics of the roadway. Staff has been engaged with Dick Lund, who's the project manager. He's been here a couple times. My understanding, they have no preference identified yet at this point, so. That is a tool in the toolbox to slow cars down through a downtown area, but they've given no indication that that is what they're trying to promote here. In my experience working with the county on these types of projects, they usually enter very open-minded, so.
Yes.
Say they don't want those, right, like, make that loud and clear, absolutely.
Yes.
And I think if they do, that won't happen, so.
I would add too that on this card, you have access to they want a survey, they want people's input at this point, so I would encourage people to provide your input.
go online and-
Yep, even before the meeting.
Everybody should have got a card like this in the
Yep.
mail.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, anything else? We'll move on to reports from counselors. Counselor Godey.
I'll keep it short today. The fire department had a breakdown of the rescue truck. It was the high pressure fuel pump. They have it repaired. It was only down for a short time, but $5,000 to fix that. That takes a big chunk out of their repair budget for this year. Another thing I wanted to bring up, everyone's been talking about ambulance services running in the red, and there's a lot of problem with shortage of money. There's a push now to get money to help out ambulance services and then find a long-term solution where they will help with the cost of the ambulance. Right now, this year, statewide, the ambulance services are running 122 million in the red. You've seen some small towns have eliminated or cut way back on their ambulances, and it's not a good situation. So that's really all I wanted to talk about.
That's it. Counselor Henson.
I gave Jen's library report. I would just add to what she said, that the library board still has 2 one-year positions that are open. So if there's anyone interested in serving on the library board, please stop at the library, get an application, and make yourself available.
Okay, thank you. Councilor McCloskey, have you got anything?
Negative.
Okay. Speaking of, I'll give it a little report, talking about ambulances. Luke and I attended the Tri-City Ambulance meeting last month. Just for information, last year the ambulance had 972 runs from White Lakes. 450 of them, or 430 of them were in the city of Aurora. So that's almost, what, 2 or 3 runs a day?
Yeah.
For a little town, that's quite a bit. And they talked about funding because we're just like everybody else, we're short on funds. Colvin Township was at our meeting this time, so I don't know what's gonna happen with them, so. And then, the only other thing I got is this meeting on the 19th, I mean, everybody should go they should go online if they got questions and get that out there, so. That's about all I got. Mayor, leave anything?
Councilor Hess, I have an update that I should have
Okay.
provided earlier as well. So with the Aurora Industrial Park, we're gonna be doing a public engagement process as well. So we've reserved the community center for April 4th.
That sounds
I
right.
think it's Thursday. It's a Thursday, and so it'll be very similar process to what the county's going through. Overall, the goal is to limit the rumors, right, and spread the correct message. So we're gonna be doing an evening meeting at the community center. We also reached out to the school district, and we're actually gonna hit up the lunch hour at the high school just to spark some engagement at that level as well. So maybe they show up, maybe they don't. I don't know.
No.
High school kids these days, but very similar, trying to just spread a very positive message on this is what's happening in your community. So we'll have a storyboard map similar to the county online that you can scroll, and it'll have some details. So
Did they start knocking down trees yet, or?
they have not. That's scheduled this month.
We've got a meeting with them next week, so you just have to be on the ground by the end of
Yeah,
the month,
right.
so. Thanks, Josh. Anybody else got anything? Okay, we'll move on to report from mayor, he's not here. Old business, franchise fees. I think that's an item we probably want to table, because I know John's got some questions on this, and I think we should wait till John gets back here. You'll be back next month, John?
Yes, I'll be in person on April 2nd.
Okay, I think we should table that till John gets back, because he does have some questions on franchise fees, so. I look for a motion to table that.
I'll make a motion, we table it.
I'll support it.
Okay, motion made, second, gotta do a roll call.
Cody,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Okay, item 16.2, city engineers service agreement.
So still working with city attorney to work through his concerns. So
Okay.
likely my recommendation would be to table until the next meeting.
Okay. Need a motion for that, we spoke. Need a motion to table the city engineering agreement.
I'll make a motion.
A motion
I'll support it.
and support.
Second, I'll support it.
Okay,
There's your votes.
have a roll call vote.
Cody,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
McLeod. Wow, McLeod.
Yes.
Hess.
Yes. Okay, we'll go on to new business. 17.1, CMAR wastewater plant bid, Agri Construction. Got nothing
I
in
don't
my
think I
packet.
fished anything in there, yeah.
There wasn't any.
Yeah.
Okay, I can give some background on that.
Okay.
So we went, as discussed at the 5 o'clock meeting, we went through the interview process last week. So for the CMAR selection, we had a 100-point scoring criteria. I believe 60 of it was proposal based, so 3 firms submitted proposals on why they're qualified to do the project. We interviewed all 3, and then scored the interview was worth 40 points as well. And so we got 3 proposals. Magni was the high scoring contractor. So, like I said at the 5 o'clock, all qualified to do the work, all find contractors. I think Magni just brings the most value to the table. So.
So do we need a motion to approve that? I'll make a motion to approve Seymour wastewater plant bid from Magni Construction.
I'll support it.
Got a motion and a support. Roll call.
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
17.2, adopt and update fire department administrative policies. This has been all gone over with by the city attorney, so it's all set to go.
I can speak on that too, I guess. You know, this is not a brand new policy. They've had it in place. They just updated a couple things. And Lindsay can touch, a big part of it was the earn sick and safe time. So I've had a chance to look at it. Our attorneys had a chance to look at it. Lindsay's had a chance to look at it. I think staff and everybody's pretty comfortable with where it's at. And they did multiple readings, so I think it's good to go and ready to go. If anyone has questions, you can certainly ask. But the meat and potatoes is just a couple of little updates. Another one, I guess, could be they put in where we do not want to hire fire department members who are neighboring communities, just because on a fire scene it gets, since we do so much mutual aid response, who's in charge of who on these scenes, who are you responding with and whatnot. So we kind of put something in there like that too. But for the most part, again, it was earned sick and safe time based, and we're all good with it. So we're just looking to approve that tonight.
So I'm looking for a motion to approve 17.2 updated fire department policies.
I move we approve 17.2.
I'll support it.
Okay,
I'm
I've got a
sorry.
motion and a support. Roll call.
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to 17.3, which is resolution 2024-18, which is applying for we purchased property in the trailer court and then applying for money for carrying it, removal of blight and prep for site.
So I can give updates on this too. One of them we've already purchased already. It's in the city of Aurora's name. This is for approval to apply for and receive demolition funds from the IRRB for one of them. The other one, it's hung up in the attorney's office. We did have Daniel Nygaard come in and sign and whatnot, but the county kicked it back. There's a typo in it. So I guess as soon as that gets signed again, we'll do that as well. So we're just kind of doing our due diligence here to apply for both demolition and removal of debris. And one of them's got a garage in it and some fencing and whatnot. So just 2 trailers this summer we'd like to demo.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve demolition for blight property resolution 2024-18? Also move.
I'll support.
Got a motion and a support. Roll call.
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Okay, item number 17.4, which is demolition of blight property resolution 2024-19, which is the same thing as what we just approved, but a different piece of property. So I would make the motion to approve that one too.
I'll support. Sorry.
I'll support it.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes. So I'd just like to add on to that. I appreciate Luke moving forward with that in a quick fashion to get rid of a couple of those bad looking buildings. So nice job.
You bet, and I guess, I can't see who's there for our attorney now, but if you could bring that back to your office and see, I know Rhonda Zaponzik and Herman Zaponzik had to sign that paperwork, and Daniel again. If you guys could just check in and try and move that along so we could get that cleaned up with the county, that'd be great, thank you.
Yeah, Lucas, thanks for that. This is Joel Lewicki from Colosimo, Patch and Kearney. I know that staff is working on obtaining those signatures and resubmitting it. I know as earlier this week they were working on it, so I will make sure that that gets moved along. It has to do with the previous grantor to who the city was getting it from. So.
Okay. Thank you for the update.
Yep.
Hey, Richard, I got one question on that corner house on Fourth Avenue on First Street. That's the county's, but they're not moving up by that. I thought it was gonna be tore down.
That's something we should address when you get back, Luke, is that house on the corner of Fourth Avenue by the school. They tore the siding and stuff off of it, and then it's just been sitting there, and that's a county project, so it's kind of a site, kind of a eyesore.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
when you come in my office next week, Richard, we can sit down and chat about it, and I'll reach out to them and kind of find out
Okay, sounds good.
where that's at.
Thanks,
Okay.
Luke. Okay, 17.5, resolution 2024-20, investment designation for ER water system.
Okay, I'll take that too. So we reached out for, is it, Lindsay, can you correct me on this one? Because I don't have an agenda in front of me. Is this the signature or is this the funding?
This is the invested earnings in its Ellers portfolio to match the IRRR 500,000 community infrastructure grant.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So, to be fully funded for the water plant project, we need, and to receive the PFA monies, we wrote a grant to the IRRB for $1 million. Because they're up against the cap right now, they do not have $1 million to give our project. They have $500,000. So what we're going to do right now is, we've taken some of our earnings and we've just earmarked it for $500,000 to match the IRRB, so we get that full $1 million. I will be writing for a phase 3 grant that I'm hopeful that we'll be able to receive in the fall. So this may be just a paper move right now. If we got to dip into it, in the fall, we could hopefully receive those monies and reapply it. So that's all it is we're just saying $500,000 of our invested money is going to be earmarked for this water plant project, so we're fully funded. I'll take questions if you have them.
Anybody else got any questions on that? So I need a motion to approve resolution.
Hey, Luke, it's John. Just a real quick question. So is that just money coming out of the general fund and the 500,000 that's invested?
Yeah, so right now that's general fund monies. We've right now currently we've got 2.85 invested. 600,000 of that is for the downtown beautification grant. Another 2.2 or and change is some of it was our old Wells Fargo investments that we had that we moved over, and then we had money in the bank that we just rolled over to try and get some more investment earnings. So 1 million of that, I don't want to confuse it and muddy it too much, but 1 million is sitting in CDs right now that we can't really touch and move around to get a little better investment rate. And then there's another 1 million that's just kind of sitting in bonds. That's going to stay there in bonds. It's still going to collect everything that it's collecting now. It's just that we're putting it in a side account that's got an actual designation. So it's just going to sit there specifically designated for it, and that's all we could touch it for. Once we don't need them again, then we'll just move it back over, and then it'll just keep sitting with the rest of the general fund dollars.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
So it's just collateral now, actually?
Yeah, so that's just general fund dollars that we had in our savings account that we've decided to invest to try and get that 5% rate that we're looking for. So it's savings account money it is money for a rainy day, but we feel like we've got enough in there that, for the next 6 months until we hopefully get this money back, it's a pretty safe move to get the project moving.
Any other questions? Now I'll look for a motion to adopt resolution 2024-20.
I move we adopt the resolution.
I'll second it. We got a motion and.
I'll second it.
Okay. Time delay.
Yep.
Roll call vote.
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2024-21 has to do with approving and authorizing execution of contracts for construction of certain facilities for the East Range Joint Water Project.
Yep, so this, we, currently, everything Aurora has been involved with is being the fiscal agent or the fiscal manager of this project. The joint powers agreement was geared towards financing. And now that we've actually moved ahead in the next phase and we're doing construction, Mia Thibodeau, the attorney from Freiberger, had just suggested that the city of Aurora should designate somebody to sign contracts on the entire city council's behalf. So what this is saying is that you guys are authorizing the mayor to sign contracts for the water board to represent the city. That's what this is, the designation, making one person signing for the entire city. I'll take questions if you have them.
No questions? I'll look for a motion to entertain resolution 2024-21.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
I'll support that.
Second? Roll call vote?
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
We lost him.
McLeod, say it one more time for the record, please.
Yes.
Okay, move on. 17.7 is resolution 2024-22, recognizing the need to update its wastewater system and identify deficiencies of its existing system.
Yeah, I can take this. So what this is a resolution. So I mentioned before for First Avenue West, we got it on the Clean Water Drinking Fund for the sanitary sewer replacement. So we got that on the project priority list, or the application submitted. And so what this is a resolution. We had to write a report supporting the need for that project. And so this is the report, or resolution accepting that report to support that application. Nothing's etched in stone. There's no financial obligation associated with it, getting it on the PPL or anything like that. So, just a formality.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-22 for West First Avenue replacement.
I'll support it.
Got a motion and support. Roll call vote?
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Hey, Rich, I got a question. Are they gonna do that this year? I heard that they may not, on First Avenue.
It's programmed for 2025.
2025 is,
Okay,
we had to change some funding with the water plant. So
yeah, that's what I heard.
you heard right. 17.8, resolution 2024-23, purchase parcel 100-0080-00420.
Again, so this is the 21 acre parcel behind Canute Drive. This would be with the intent of housing. Again, that would be up for discussion as to what kind of housing we wanted to put in there. We do not have a purchase agreement set right now. You're just authorizing up to $70,000 to be negotiated on that. If we get a purchase agreement, we would work through it and we just find that behind the scenes afterwards. Our intent would be to hopefully close on the 22nd of March, so we can move this thing along pretty quickly. And then again, the intent would be to take the $70,000 and then leverage that with a grant application for the IRRB, to go on to phase 1 and phase 2 work to get this thing ready to go. So I'll take questions if you got them after that. Oh, and secondly, the motion should include the use of ARPA funds. Again, those are COVID dollars. They need to be exhausted by the end of 2024, or at least designated by the end of 2024. So this would exhaust our ARPA or COVID funds. And if we did go up to that full $70,000, you would take about $4,000 from the general fund or so. So the motion should include the use of ARPA funds and general fund dollars.
I did specify that in the resolution as well, Luke, so it should be in writing that we could submit to our accounting clerk.
Perfect.
So I'll need a motion to approve resolution 2024-23.
I'll make the motion, we approve the resolution using the ARPA funds and general funds as needed.
And I'll second with the addition that it'll be used remaining ARPA funds in the motions. Roll call vote?
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
$17.9 charitable gambling request, Mesabi East Schools. Put an application in for Mesabi East Schools, Community Ed. Person applying is Katie Felt. Briefly, it's to raise funds, let's see. Funds would be used to sponsor Minnesota East, Mesabi East Community Education Creative Art classes. These classes are free. After-school craft or baking classes for elementary school students ranging from pre-kindergarten to 9th grade. They cover a wide range of activities from cupcakes and cupcake decorating, fufu, tie-dye projects, and so on. So looking for 500. This class is free and open to all students of all abilities. They're looking for $500.
I'll make a motion to donate to that.
I'll second it. Roll call.
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
$17.10 is from the Knights of Columbus requesting permission to hold charitable gambling bingo game at Holy Rosary Church Hall on Sunday, April 7th, 2024. The proceeds will be used for our council's charitable programs. So, this is something they do once or twice a year, so. I'd make a motion to approve it.
I'll support that.
I'll support that motion.
I got a motion and support, I'll roll call.
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
That puts us down to 17.11 is other. Anybody else got anything else?
I will just make an announcement that the regular special meeting will have to be moved due to that public engagement meeting at the community center on the 19th. So a notice of date change will go out tomorrow, but it will be reflected in the minutes that the next meeting will be on Thursday, March 21st.
Okay, anything else? Not, look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion, we adjourn.
I'll support.
Okay, roll call.
Godey,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hess,
Yep.
McLeod.
Yes.
Thanks, Luke. So there.
You're welcome, everyone have a good evening.
You do.
I don't know